The moment you clicked on this, something shifted. This is not a random message, and it's not here to comfort you with soft words. There is someone right now who is actively trying to escape the feeling of missing you. They are filling every quiet space with noise, every empty moment with distraction, hoping that if they stay busy enough, the ache will fade. That it hasn't. In fact, it's growing stronger, and they're starting to lose control over it. This connection is unfinished. No matter how much distance they create, your energy keeps finding them. You show up in their thoughts when they least expect it. In songs, in memories, in sudden waves of emotion that hit without warning. They tell themselves they're over it, that they've moved on, that this was for the best. But deep down, they know that's a lie. If they truly didn't care, they wouldn't need to run this hard. Lana, as the cards open, 3 powerful energies step forward. The Moon, the Knight of Cups, and the 8 of Cups. These are not calm or casual cards. They speak of emotional confusion, suppressed longing, and someone forcing themselves to walk away while their heart keeps pulling them back. This is the energy of someone pretending to be okay while quietly unraveling inside. What you're about to hear goes deeper than surface emotions. It reveals why they are fighting their feelings, what they are afraid to admit, and why the mask they're wearing is starting to crack. The more they distract themselves, the louder their heart becomes. And very soon, something will shift that makes hiding impossible. Stay with Lana, because this message is about to expose what they can no longer deny, and why you are still at the center of their emotional storm. As the moon rises in this reading, everything becomes quieter, heavier, and more emotional beneath the surface. This card speaks of what is hidden, what is denied, and what someone refuses to fully face. The person connected to you is living in a state of emotional fog. On the outside, they appear composed, distracted, even detached at times. But inside, their thoughts are looping, their emotions are restless, and their heart is anything but calm. The moon reveals a mind that cannot find peace, especially at night, when distractions fade and the truth gets louder. This person is deeply confused by their own feelings for you. They don't understand why you still affect them the way you do, why your absence feels heavier than they expected, or why moving on hasn't brought relief. The moon shows someone questioning themselves constantly. Why can't I let this go? Why do I still feel this pull? They may even try to convince themselves that what they feel isn't real, that it's just loneliness or nostalgia, but the emotional waves keep returning, stronger each time, proving that this connection is far from imagined. Fear plays a big role here. The moon is not just about emotion, it's about fear of the unknown. This person is afraid of what acknowledging their feelings for you would mean, afraid of vulnerability, afraid of being exposed, afraid of making the wrong move. So instead of facing their truth, they hide from it. They distract themselves, avoid conversations that remind them of you, and keep their emotions buried deep. But buried emotions don't disappear. They wait, they grow, and under the moon's energy, they begin to leak out in ways this person cannot control. There is also a sense of emotional instability around them. One moment they feel certain they're fine without you. The next moment they're overwhelmed by longing. They may replay past moments with you, wondering what went wrong or what could have been different. The moon shows regrets they won't admit out loud and questions they don't have the courage to ask. They are haunted by what ifs and if onlys, especially when they're alone with their thoughts. Lana, this card also shows intuition working overtime. Even if this person isn't speaking to you, even if there's distance or silence, they feel you. They sense when you think of them. They feel sudden emotional shifts without knowing why. The connection between you hasn't faded. It's simply operating beneath the surface, in the unseen realm. The moon confirms that there is a psychic, emotional, almost magnetic pull still active between you. What makes this even more intense is that the moon exposes self-deception. This person has been lying to themselves more than they've lied to anyone else. They tell themselves they're distracted because they're busy, not because they're hurting. They tell themselves they don't miss you. They just miss the idea of connection. But deep down, they know the truth. You are the missing piece they keep circling around but refuse to name. There is also emotional exhaustion here. Running from feelings is tiring. Pretending is tiring. The moon shows someone reaching a breaking point where the emotional pressure becomes too much to contain. They may start acting out of character, becoming moody, withdrawn, or suddenly nostalgic. These are signs that the illusion they've built is starting to crack. This card does not bring instant clarity, but it does bring revelation. The moon tells us that the truth is rising, whether this person is ready or not. The distractions are losing their power. The silence is becoming uncomfortable, and the feelings they tried to hide are beginning to demand acknowledgement. This is not the energy of someone who has moved on. This is the energy of someone standing in emotional darkness, slowly realizing they can no longer pretend they don't see the light you still bring into their life. And as the moon glows brighter, one thing becomes clear. The more they try to escape their feelings for you, the more those feelings follow them. As the Knight of Cups steps forward, the energy shifts from confusion into deep, undeniable emotion. This card represents someone who feels everything intensely but struggles to express it in a grounded, practical way. The person connected to you is not emotionally empty or indifferent. They are overflowing with feelings they don't know how to handle. While the moon showed their fear and inner confusion, the Knight of Cups reveals the heart beneath all of that avoidance. This person romanticizes you more than they admit. They replay moments, words, and feelings like scenes from a movie, imagining conversations that never happened or endings that could have been different. The Knight of Cups is the dreamer, the one who leads with emotion rather than logic. They are deeply moved by you, even if they pretend otherwise. When they try to distract themselves, it doesn't last long, because their heart keeps pulling them back into emotional memories tied to you. There is a longing here that feels gentle but heavy at the same time. This is not aggressive desire, it's emotional yearning. They miss the way you made them feel understood, seen, and emotionally alive. The Knight of Cups shows someone who struggles to replace that feeling. Other connections feel shallow in comparison. Conversations lack depth. Interactions feel empty, no matter how much attention they receive from others. It doesn't touch them the way your energy did. This card also speaks of emotional immaturity mixed with sincerity. They feel deeply, but they don't always know how to act on those feelings responsibly. They may hesitate, overthink, or wait for the perfect moment that never seems to come. Instead of stepping forward and being honest, they retreat into fantasy. They imagine reaching out. They imagine apologizing. They imagine telling you how much you mean to them. But imagination feels safer than action, especially when rejection or vulnerability is involved. Lana, the Knight of Cups, carries messages that are unsent, words they rehearse in their mind but never speak. There is an emotional confession forming inside them, but fear keeps it locked away. They worry about how they'll be received. They worry about opening wounds that never fully healed. And yet, the desire to express themselves is growing stronger. This is someone who wants to come toward you emotionally, even if they're moving slowly or inconsistently. You may notice their energy reaching out in subtle ways, thinking about you suddenly, dreaming of you, feeling emotional waves without knowing why. The Knight of Cups shows emotional telepathy, a heart that speaks even when the mouth stays silent. They are more affected by you than they let on, and their attempts to distract themselves only make the emotions resurface later with more intensity. There is also regret wrapped into this card. Regret for not saying enough, for not acting sooner, for letting pride, fear, or confusion get in the way. The Knight of Cups often realizes too late how much something truly mattered. They are now aware that what they felt with you wasn't casual or replaceable. It was rare, and that realization weighs heavily on them. This energy is building toward expression. The Knight of Cups does not stay silent forever. At some point, the heart demands to be heard, whether through a message, a gesture, or an emotional confession. Something inside them wants to break through the silence. They are struggling between staying safe in distraction and taking the emotional risk of honesty. What this card makes clear is simple. This person is not over you. They are emotionally invested, emotionally affected, and emotionally pulled in your direction. Even if their actions don't always match their feelings, their heart knows exactly where it wants to go. And as the Knight of Cups rides forward, it becomes harder for them to keep pretending that missing you isn't the deepest emotion they carry. As the Eight of Cups emerges in this reading, the energy becomes heavier, more deliberate, and filled with the weight of emotional truth. This card speaks of someone standing at a crossroads, realizing that what they once chased, what they once clung to, no longer satisfies their soul. It represents emotional clarity that comes through leaving behind illusions, distractions, or attachments that no longer serve the heart. In the context of your connection, it shows that this person is reaching a point where they can no longer avoid the truth of how much they miss you. The Eight of Cups is about emotional honesty, even when it's uncomfortable. This person has tried to convince themselves that staying busy, avoiding thought, or focusing elsewhere could replace what they feel for you. They have tried to rationalize their distance, justify their silence, and hide behind distractions. But deep inside, their heart keeps whispering the same truth. What they feel for you is too strong to ignore, and pretending otherwise is exhausting. This card also reflects a conscious choice, a turning point. The person connected to you is realizing that the emotional patterns they've been living in are no longer sustainable. They are haunted by what they've left behind, by moments with you, by memories that still stir longing, by the subtle but constant pull of your energy. The Eight of Cups shows someone who can no longer settle for shallow satisfaction. The emptiness of distraction is clear to them, and it is growing heavier with every passing day. Lana, this energy is deeply introspective. The person may be walking away from comfort, walking away from avoidance, and slowly turning toward the emotional truth they have denied. They may feel sadness for what they've missed, regret for the moments they ignored, and even fear of what coming forward might mean. But underneath that fear is a quiet, undeniable recognition. Leaving the emotional illusions behind is the only way to confront the depth of their feelings for you. There is also a sense of sorrow and courage mixed in this card. Walking away in the Eight of Cups is never easy. It means facing reality without the comfort of denial, meaning acknowledging longing without running from it, meaning accepting that the heart has been yearning for something real all along. This person may experience moments of hesitation, moments of doubt, even moments of wishing they could stay in the illusion a little longer. Yet, the pull of the heart is stronger than their hesitation. The Eight of Cups also signals a spiritual and emotional awakening. This person is becoming aware that what they feel for you is not superficial or fleeting. It's something that touches the soul, something that demands recognition, something that calls for action. No matter how much they tried to distract themselves, the emotional truth has become undeniable. They're at the point of understanding that the only way forward is to face the feelings they've been running from. Subtle signs of this awakening may already be appearing. They might pause when they see you in passing, feel sudden nostalgia for past interactions, or experience waves of emotion that they cannot explain. The Eight of Cups confirms that these are not random. These are signals from their heart, guiding them to acknowledge what they truly feel. In essence, this card reveals the turning point that has been quietly building for some time. The person connected to you can no longer remain distracted, can no longer hide behind busyness or avoidance. Their heart is pulling them toward clarity, honesty, and emotional reckoning. The Eight of Cups tells us that a choice is imminent. Continue in illusion, or step forward into truth. And when the heart is ready, the illusions fall away, and what has been long denied finally emerges, unmistakable and undeniable. This is the energy of someone reaching the edge of their own emotional limits, realizing that what they feel for you cannot be ignored any longer, and that the only path forward is to face it fully. The Eight of Cups carries both the weight of longing and the courage of emotional truth, showing that even in leaving behind, there is the promise of honesty, connection, and a heart finally free to follow what it has always known. The energy of these three cards together, the Moon, the Knight of Cups, and the Eight of Cups, paints a deeply emotional, almost cinematic picture of someone struggling with their feelings for you, and yet, no matter how much they try, they cannot escape the truth. Each card adds a layer to the story: confusion, longing, and the inevitable confrontation with emotional reality. When these energies are combined, what emerges is a narrative of a heart caught between fear and desire, avoidance and revelation, silence and expression. The Moon opens this story. It represents the emotional fog that has surrounded this person for some time. On the surface, they may seem distracted, busy, or indifferent, but underneath, there is a storm of suppressed emotion. They are trying to hide their feelings from themselves as much as from the world. The Moon shows that they are haunted by uncertainty, replaying moments, second-guessing their choices, and questioning their own emotions. There is a sense of fear, the fear of vulnerability, the fear of being exposed, the fear of what it means to feel for someone so intensely. They tell themselves they are fine, that they've moved on. But deep down, the truth of their connection to you refuses to stay buried. Every attempt to distract themselves only strengthens the emotional pull they feel. The moon's energy creates a tension between the mind and the heart, showing someone who is lost in a labyrinth of their own feelings, unable to find peace. Into this fog rides the Knight of Cups, carrying the raw, emotional intensity that the moon only hints at. While the moon is about confusion and hidden fear, the Knight of Cups represents the heart in motion, the longing, the romantic pull, the yearning that cannot be ignored. This person dreams of you, thinks of you in vivid detail, and feels deeply, even if they have not acted on it. The Knight of Cups is not about casual affection. It's about a heart overflowing with emotion, often more than it can handle. They may imagine confessions, romantic gestures, and emotional reunions, but fear keeps them in the realm of thought rather than action. The Knight of Cups amplifies the longing hinted at by the moon, showing that the person's heart is actively reaching for you even when their mind tells them to stay away. There is an artistic, almost poetic quality to this energy. They feel profoundly, perhaps even painfully, and every moment of distraction only makes the absence of you feel heavier. The Eight of Cups brings this story to a pivotal point. While the moon is confusion and the Knight of Cups is longing, the Eight of Cups represents awareness, clarity, and the emotional reckoning that cannot be avoided. This card shows someone at a crossroads, realizing that their attempts to escape or suppress their feelings are no longer enough. The distractions that once worked, business, avoidance, pretending, have lost their power. The Eight of Cups is about emotional courage, about the willingness to leave behind illusions and face the heart's truth. It signals a turning point. They can no longer ignore what they feel for you. Even if walking toward that truth feels frightening or uncertain, it is now unavoidable. This is someone confronting the depth of their emotions, recognizing the magnitude of what they have been avoiding, and starting to take the first steps toward honesty, whether through action, confession, or subtle signs that their feelings cannot be contained. Together, these three cards tell a story of someone who has been living in emotional denial, yet cannot escape the gravity of your connection. They tried to hide, to distract themselves, and to convince themselves that they were fine without you, but their heart keeps pulling them back. The moon shows the confusion and fear that kept them distant. The Knight of Cups reveals the deep emotional longing that cannot be silenced, and the Eight of Cups shows the inevitable reckoning with truth that is coming. The combination suggests a process. First, emotional fog and self-deception. Second, romantic yearning and unspoken feelings. And third, the confrontation with what cannot be denied. It is a journey from hiding and avoidance to undeniable emotional awakening. This reading also highlights the intensity and sincerity of their feelings. The moon indicates that they have been reflecting, questioning, and perhaps even doubting themselves. But the Knight of Cups shows that their feelings are real, heartfelt, and persistent. The Eight of Cups confirms that these feelings are strong enough to demand recognition. They are no longer content to remain in the shadows of uncertainty. There is a sense that this person has reached the limits of emotional avoidance. Their heart is stirring. Their longing is building, and the truth of what they feel for you is becoming impossible to ignore. The emotional impact of these cards together is profound. They describe someone who is deeply affected by you, even if outward appearances suggest otherwise. They cannot hide the depth of their longing forever, and they cannot continue distracting themselves without the truth rising to the surface. There is a sense of inevitability in this combination. The emotional fog must clear. The heart must express itself, and the illusions must be left behind. It's a powerful reminder that true feelings, even when suppressed or ignored, have a way of revealing themselves. The Moon, Knight of Cups, and Eight of Cups together depict the internal struggle, the romantic yearning, and the courageous confrontation that define this person's emotional journey regarding you. Ultimately, this reading shows that what is happening is not casual or fleeting. This person is profoundly affected by your presence in their life. They have been lost, they have longed, and they are now on the edge of facing the truth of their emotions. The combination of these three cards is a story of emotional awakening, a narrative of someone who tried to run, who tried to distract themselves, but who can no longer ignore the gravity of what they feel. Their heart has been pulling them toward you all along, and now clarity, longing, and courage are converging to break the silence. The Moon, the Knight of Cups, and the Eight of Cups together reveal a journey that is as emotional as it is inevitable. the revelation that this connection cannot be denied, and that what they feel for you is powerful, undeniable, and ready to be acknowledged.